back again for our next episode of Real Talk. And today I'm really excited to welcome you to Shannon Stone. Shannon and I only met about 8 weeks ago at the start of this year, 2020. And I am just really inspired by Shannon, her humble approach. We just really clicked, and I am so excited to welcome you to her, share a little bit about Shannon's backstory, and also share with you why she may have recently won the Young Emerging Leader in Business Award. So welcome, Shannon. Thank you so much for coming today.
Awesome. I'm so excited to be here. And yeah, you're right. We only met pretty recently, but so much has happened this year that, we can kind of fit a whole lifetime into, the last 8 weeks.
I know. What a crazy year already, and it's only April. Well, thank you so much for coming on. So Shannon, I really wanted to share your world and your backstory and what you've created for your life and your little girl's life with the world. So can you start off by sharing with us, your backstory? How did you come to create the life that you're living right now, Shannon?
Yeah. I guess that's such a big question, There's so many different angles a backstory can have, but probably the most simplest one is I'm a mum to an 11-year-old girl, so a young single mum, and I also run a business as well. So they're my two main hats that I wear in my day-to-day life. So I guess if we take it back to probably around the time I had my daughter, I just turned 19. And I was working for Qantas at the time, actually. I was working for Qantas in one of their factories, and I was working there full time. And then I thought, I don't know if this is really what I want to do and this is the world I want to provide. It was just kind of like, it wasn't a 9-to-5 job, but it was just a regular full-time job. And so then I thought, okay, I'm going to go back and study. And so then I went I first went to TAFE and I did business and marketing. And then I went on to uni and also did a Bachelor of Business major in marketing as well. And that started my journey onto business and that kind of world. But it was interesting because a couple of years earlier, I didn't even know the label marketing. I couldn't even tell you what that was. It wasn't that, out there as it is now. Like everyone knows what it is and the necessity that it provides for people. So then I went back and studied, and then throughout that, I guess, coming to become a marketer, a completely professional marketer, on a personal level, I was going through so many rough changes in my life from my relationship and that kind of thing. So becoming a single parent and becoming a young single parent as well. And I think my emerging career was maybe like part of the anchor that kind of led me through to what I am now. So and it's actually something I haven't thought of until we're having this conversation now, but I think it was the thing that kind of pulled me through, because I was focusing on my goal of, finishing university, which I did extremely well at. I was top student in 2 of my courses. And then going to get an internship, which was extremely hard to get. And then even getting a job in your own industry out of uni is like really hard. So I just kept having something to go towards. And, but as I was a single mom, and then I started working in the industry. Like most people, when you get that 9-to-5 job, it's never 9 to 5. It's like 9 to 5 and then your whole life as well.
That's everything else.
It's like it was morning networking events. It was like weekend seminars and all that kind of thing. And my daughter had just started her first year of school at the time. So it was just such a whole lot of pressure and a whole lot of absence, I think, on my end that I felt. And then I didn't want to be that kind of parent, because she was going to before school care and after school care, and it wasn't for me. So I started making some transitions, and then ultimately I took the step forward in creating my own business. I thought, you know what, I'll take all the skills that I have, business, marketing, social media, and I'll just create my own job for myself.
I love it.
So I did that, and I did that 4.5 years ago, so in 2015. So that's kind of brought me to where I am today. So I'm a mum, I'm a business owner. I've been in marketing for over 10 years, going on to 5 years running my business. And I think the greatest thing is, like, there's so many great things that have come from it, but meeting amazing people like yourself, Lauren, and all the people I meet along the way and the events I get to go to. And I love the personal development side, as you and I talk about a whole lot. So
I know.
yeah. So it's like I wear two major hats, but they're two really big ones, and there's so much in them. And I love everything down to the finest detail, except bookkeeping in my business.
That's the bookkeeping.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I love how you can really clearly share that, you do have two hats that you're wearing. But what you're also sharing, and what I'm hearing from that, is you're wearing those two hats, but you're creating and have created a life that's really key to who you are as a person. And I think that's an amazing legacy that you will create for your little girl as well. How did you come to know that this is what you wanted to create, pulling the marketing, being a mom? How did you do that?
Yeah, it's such an interesting question, because my first job out of uni, I had this really good friend, and we've become really good friends since then, and we'd have a lot of these conversations like, what is it that we're really passionate about? Maybe we should start a business. And it's like, is this a thing that I'm meant to be doing? But I kept pursuing the marketing and things like that. But when I started my business in 2015, I was probably going for about a year in.
Yeah.
And then I thought, and I was doing social media content creation at the time.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, I love what I do, but there's something missing. I'm like, maybe I've made the wrong decision in business. Like, have I chosen the wrong industry, whatever it might have been? Because I was quite crafty and I was quite creative. But anyway, I started going down a development of personal development and personality profiling and seeing, where do I fit on different things? Like, am I, like, someone tell me what I'm meant to be doing. So I started doing some of that, and I did like e-disc profiling, and I did Dr. Demartini's values test as well, and things like that. So I went and saw someone who kind of took me through all these different things. And then I just ticked all the boxes that I'm suited to marketing. But what's really important for me personally is that I do it more on the communication side, not on the implementation side. So it's hard for me to sit behind a computer and just like nut out stuff all day and create content all day. I could do that for maybe 10 minutes and then I need to go and actually talk to someone. So I think I was really surprised by all that, actually, because all I had to do was change the delivery of what I was doing. And then I fell completely in love with what I do now. And so that was probably a year into business. So like 3 years on, I've been able to just change that delivery. And now I wake up every day loving what I do. And I'm like, could it be that simple that you just change one little thing? It's not like, go and sell everything and go be a digital nomad and work all over the world. Maybe it's not that extravagant. It's just something simple.
Yeah, and I love how easy you put it. And that's, we have connected since the moment we met to talk about this sort of stuff. But I love how simple you put it. You spent the time, this didn't just fall in your lap. You did spend the time to find out who you are as a person, what's important to you, and what lights you up to create this. If anyone was watching this today and they were feeling a little bit where you were, 5 even more years ago, what advice would you give them to help them find out those little things about themselves that light them up to create a business and life without using that?
Yeah. I think it comes back to just try something and just keep trying something until something sticks. Or even as you try things, reflect on the different things that you may pick up and enjoy about it. Like even myself, I love reflecting on different things. So if I go to an event, for example, I might say, okay, what is it that I really liked about that event? Or what is it that I would like differently? And then I'll look for more of those things. So, I think constantly you're piecing together the things that you like, and that's how you create the life you love. It's like, okay, I like this thing and I like that thing, and it'll all start to come together.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Share with us, so you've started to piece this, real talk. What were some of the internal struggles that you had to overcome to, you know, try these different things? I can imagine not everything worked out as you were trying the different things and creating this life. Can you share an internal you went through?
Yeah, there could be like a whole book of all the internal struggles. And actually, a couple of months ago, before I get into that, or it ties into it, I was driving home really late from visiting a family member in hospital, and I had a bit of like an epiphany moment where, like, I don't know why it came up at this point at time at like 2:00 in the morning, as they do, but it was like when you start your business, it's like all your life's, I don't want to call them problems, but your life things like present themselves on a platter for you to actually deal with.
Yeah.
And so the internal things that came up for me was like imposter syndrome. That was a really big one. So that's a thing of like, especially when I stepped into more of consulting, when I was doing more of the communicating to people, that's like imposter syndrome. If people don't know it, it's like when you feel like a fraud. It's like someone's going to find out that I actually don't know what I'm talking about. And that's like a big thing that I talk about with people now. And yeah, that's like completely massive. Other things as well, like everyone talks about the fear of failure, but for me, it was actually the fear of success. I was more scared of actually succeeding because I've always been an overachiever, like, you know, back through primary school and things like that. I always got the best, you know, awards and all that kind of thing. And I was just expected to get the highest grade. And so, you know, if you fast forward to, you know, real life or adult life or business life, it's like, well, it's like, okay, getting the success, there's a lot that comes with that. It's like the pressure, or you'll be seen, or, you know, it's like, okay, so then you hold yourself back. It's like, okay, well, I won't call those potential clients back, because if they say yes, then I'm going to have to do the work, and then then I'm going to be exposed to showing up, you know. And so you just kind of do certain things and you send yourself crazy. It's like, why don't I do it? Why don't I just call them? Or why don't I, you know, why did I spend 3 months creating a website? Why did it take me so long? Because in that example, I was creating a website every single day for 3 months and not doing anything else, when what I should have been doing, hindsight, when you look back, it's like I should have been doing the thing out there to get the clients, but I was just, you know, doing the textbook. Okay, when you start a business, you create a website, but now as I look back, it's a little bit backwards.
Yeah, and I love you sharing that. You know, I have so many conversations, and I know you do too, Shannon, about, you know, the fear of failure. But what so many people don't necessarily connect with, and I love that you have, is there is also this real fear about success and what that looks like, and what that can create from you, and holding ourselves back from that. How did you talk us through how you overcome that? Have you got a specific example? I know there's definitely one I'm going to ask you about in a minute. I'll kind of give it that one, but what's a specific example for us? Paint a real clear picture of what that actually meant for you.
I guess the one that you're going to ask me about is to do with the award. And we'll get into that. But I think there were just so many dominoes of, like, for example, I have been so privileged to be in a position in my business where I've met so many incredible people who say to me all the time, and they're like the best at what they do in their own right. And they all say to me, like, you know, if you need anything, Shannon, just let me know, I'm here to help you. Or they'll send me certain things or connect me with certain people. But I would never take their help. I was like, I'll just, you know, oh, it's all good. If I ever need help, I'll let you know. But I've, you know, from the beginning, I've always had access to excellent people, and, you know, people that could really accelerate my business. And one of my first mentors, when I told her the people I had in my network, she could have fallen off her chair, because she's like, Shannon, do you know what the fastest way to grow your business is? It's to partner up with people who can help accelerate you. And I was like, I know, but
quickly.
Yeah, I know. It's like, okay, well, yeah, it's like to be in a room of, you know, multi-millionaires. It's like, do you want to get in front of those people, or do you want to get in front of a different group of people? Because then all like the talk comes up. It's like, oh, well, I'm not a multi-millionaire yet, so I don't want to get in front of those people. So I'm just going to kind of hang out over here. And you kind of just do things the slow burn kind of way, where it's like, yeah, the fear of success is like, you see the thing that can really help fast track you, but for whatever reason, you don't go for it.
Yeah, and there's so much, what you're really sharing here and what I'm taking from this as well is there is so much self-talk.
Yeah.
It happens for us, so much to overcome. And I really believe that there is no overnight success. And I love what you're also sharing about the people that you had access to and have access to and who you're surrounding yourself. One of the biggest things that I live by is that you're the average of the 5 people that you hang around with. And then getting around those people. But I think the ability to do that comes from being able to work through that self-talk.
Yeah. It's just, it constantly chatters all day, every day. And you're right, it's not an overnight thing. You get better at it. And then if you're really into personal development as well, you'll use it to work to your advantage. Yes. But it's always there. It's always something you're going to have to work on.
Yeah. And the personal development piece, it's so big, isn't it? And I think it's not until you actually start doing it. It seems like this crazy world that people do. Life-changing. It's absolutely life-changing.
Yeah.
How long ago did you get into personal development?
I feel like I would probably have, subtly have been attracted to it my whole life, but it was in business when I started really getting into it. Like the first personal development book I read was The Success Principles by Jack Canfield.
Yes.
And I think I read that, I never read books, only the ones we were given in school and we had to read, but I never read books until I started business.
Yeah.
And the first proper book I read was The E-Myth Revisited, which is a business one by Michael Gerber. And that's like amazing. And then I think the second book was The Success Principles. Yeah, so it kind of stemmed from there.
Yeah. And have you found that, I think you shared this before, but that your business is growing the more that you grow?
Yeah, 100%. Like it'll grow as fast as you grow and it will slow as fast as you slow. We'll put
that quote.
Yeah, absolutely. It's tied to the business owner completely. And like Tony Robbins says, business success is 80% psychology, 20% strategy. And I think like I help people on that 20% strategy, and then you probably help people on that 80%. And so I see the need for both. I'm like, you cannot do this. And it's from my own experience. It's like, I could not have done what I've done by just focusing on marketing. Like that is not the whole circle.
It's not. There's so much of the mindset and what you're saying, the action has to come as well.
Yeah.
We can do all the personal development, but it's that ability to take action, feel that fear of success, the fear of failure, kind of whatever it is, and navigate through that.
Yeah, I know. And like what you said, you have to take action is like the number one thing. And for me, like coming back to, I'm a communicator, not an implementator.
Yes.
I was like, damn, I hate to take action. Like I just love to talk about things.
Talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. And I was in the trap of learning from so many people, reading all the books, watching all the videos and not taking any action, or just the love of learning. And you slowly do start to take action. But one thing I've done more so recently is as I read a book, I'm taking action as I'm reading it, rather than, because I was priding myself on I read one book every single week and look at all the books I'm getting through. But it's like, okay, they don't really matter. It's like you got to do something with the information.
Yeah, I love that reading something and implementing it and doing something. So can you tell us about, so Shannon recently won the Young Emerging Leader in Business. I get tongue-tied saying that. So I said that wrong. Recently, Women in Business, and that's just so exciting. And I remember when I was talking to Shannon about it, she was so humble about it. So Shannon, share with us what that was and what that's meant for you since.
Yeah, so it was the International Women's Day Award for Young Emerging Leader in Business, and it is like, it's such a mouthful. But yeah, so I won that in March, and it was really, really cool. And yeah, you're totally right. I'm completely humble about it because I think it took a lot for me. It takes a bit to digest things, especially like that. But yeah, there's a lot to, I guess, winning the award. And I guess people ask me, why did I win it? And I guess part of it is like the mission that I have. So to help eradicate poverty in my lifetime. And I want to do that through business. So that's my big global mission that I'm working out. Okay, let's figure out how we can actually do this. But like even winning the award, to tie into the conversation we're having now, like even if I reflect on that week leading up to, it was a Friday when we had the award ceremony at the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
And I, you're like, oh yeah, I'm not going to win. It's like, as you just don't know, that self-talk again. And so I actually wasn't planning on attending the ceremony. I was like, I just had so much on in business that week and in life and all that kind of things. Like, oh, I don't want to go. And then even like preparing for it. But they called me on the Wednesday and they're like, oh, you haven't bought your ticket and are you coming? And I'm like, oh, okay, I better come. If they're calling me, I might just come.
Yeah.
So I quickly got organized and then went down there on the Friday night with my daughter. Just the two of us went down, which I thought was really nice to take my daughter along to an International Women's Day event, I knew there would probably be speakers and speeches and just to hear from different people.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was so cool. And it was kind of like just rushing. Like I was on autopilot that week, just trying to get through the week in general. But then I, got dressed, got to the event, sat in my seat, and then I took like a minute to like breathe. And I was like, oh my God, what if I actually win?
Yes.
I'm not prepared to win. And then I've done a lot of personal development. I've gotten over the imposter syndrome. I think in certain ways I've gotten over the fear of success, fear of failure to certain degrees. Yeah. But then in that moment I was reminded, I was like, oh my God, I think I'd rather not win than actually win, because what does winning actually mean in this moment? Yeah. Because I know, like so much came up and they had about, I think, maybe 7 or 8 different divisions of awards. So mine was the Young Emerging Leader in Business. Yeah. And I could see the people before me, they get all the finalists on the stage, and then the winner, they'll announce a winner, they'll give a little spiel about the winner, why they've given the award to them. Then the winner has to make a speech. And I'm like, oh my God, if I win, I haven't prepared a speech, and like, do I prepare one now and feel a little bit cocky for writing one into my phone in the event that I might win? And it's like, oh my God. And then time's ticking by. But yeah, the rest is kind of history. I ended up winning the award and it's still kind of sinking in a little bit. But since then, I've met from there, I've met so many amazing people. It led on to some more opportunities. Yeah. I've been in a room of other powerful, independent women in business. I emceed an International Women's Day event as well, and I got to see all these different speakers and network with them. And that's like really where the power is, like the conversations that you have with people.
I love that. The conversations that you have with people. It's so true. It's so true.
Yeah, definitely. And like getting into the right room with people as well. It's like that's one thing, like as I reflect, it's one thing I've always focused on. Or I got to a point where I was like, I think all I have to do is focus on getting into the right room. It's like when I went to Unleash Your Power Within with Tony Robbins last year, I was like, just get into the room, like fly down to Sydney and just get into the room somehow. And like same thing with the award, or same thing, anything I do, like, okay, what room can I get into? What room do I actually need to be in?
Yeah, I love that. So you really work out what room to get in, who to surround yourself with, and then is it little baby steps to actually get there? How do you then get in the room with those people? Yeah, it's definitely a mixture, and I think it's been, I wouldn't say trial and error, but it's a trial of lots of different things. So I love to go, I don't go to as many events and networking things as I used to, just because of the schedule and trying to fit them in at the right time. But it's just about like going and trying them. Like if you're looking at meetup.com and you're finding things on there, or you're seeing events pop up on Facebook, or right now everyone's online at the moment, there's heaps of things happening online. Even listening to like a podcast like this, or like something, that's what I did. I started with just listening to things on podcast and audios and things like that, and I'll start to follow those people, and then that leads to something else. They may be running an online event or something, so it's like a spiral effect. Yeah, I love that, and it is so true. It doesn't have to be this big thing. It can just be starting with a podcast that then leads to a conversation that then leads to action. It really is conversations. And then, 12 months, 2 years, 5 years later, you look back and you're like, I don't even know where this all started, but it happened.
Absolutely. And it's literally baby steps. And then when you look back, like when I emceed an International Women's Day event a couple of weeks ago, I was chatting to the DJ in between different things because I had to introduce speakers and give a little bit of talk in between. And he just said to me, like, I could never do what you're doing, like holding the microphone and speaking to all these people. Yeah. And I said to him, trust me, like 5 years ago, this couldn't have been me either. And like, I'm even shocked at like the person I'm able to be now.
Are you?
Yeah.
Could you ever have imagined, 5 years ago that you would be where you are now and be having the conversation you're having with the people that you're meeting? Could you ever?
No, definitely not. Like, and even like reflecting further back, like when I was at uni as well, like and even in school, like giving presentations and things like that, like that was just, I was handshaking, like I couldn't do it. And like a university lecturer, we did like a group assignment together and she told us how terrible it was, even though how I thought it was amazing. And I was like, wow, okay, this isn't for me. But then, fast forward, it's like you just end up doing it and you like look forward to it and you enjoy it. So you will be surprised and other people will be surprised at, even a year from now or 6 months coming out of Corona, but just in life in general, like you'll be able to do so much more than what you actually thought you could. And it starts with the baby steps, like have the conversation, listen to the podcast. Like it sounds so simple, but that's all I did.
It's simple though, life can be really simple. We still experience things. You still experience internal conflicts, external conflicts. You had this greater vision though that's enabled you then to take those steps, and it can really be that simple. Not easy, but simple.
Yeah.
I love about your message here, Shannon.
Yeah. And you're right. Like, it's not that it's easy, but it's simple. Like, I've been to the networking events where I was scared to talk to people, but now it's different because I just kept doing it. And the other thing I'll do is like, what's one thing I can do to push myself? Like, just what's that one next step? Because we can get really overwhelmed with, oh my God, I want to be here. I want to earn this amount, or I want X, Y, Z. But just focus on that one next step and then it'll all start to come together.
Yeah, that one next step. I love it.
Yeah.
On the wall.
Go for it.
What would you say has been your biggest transformation, Shannon, as a result of everything that you've done, those one little steps that you've been taking? What is your biggest transformation or biggest achievement?
Yeah. I think it's not underestimating yourself. Like, I think for me, like in this moment, it's like knowing that I'm capable, especially right now, we're reflecting on so much of what I've done. I think it's like, I didn't know I could actually do all that. And in a certain way, it's like, as growing up a bit of an overachiever in certain ways, it's like, I knew I could, but at the same time, it's like, can you actually? And so I think the biggest transformation is like coming back to who you are and being like, you know what, I can do this, or I am capable of this. And if I thought I couldn't do this, well, what else could I do that right now I think I can't?
I love it. I love it. You bring it all back to simplicity, don't you?
Yeah.
And what is, you've got your little girl there with you. Beth, what's the legacy that you want to leave for her life and I guess the world that we're in, Shannon?
Yeah, I think the main legacy is that you can literally do anything that you want. And one of the things I always say is that anything is possible, like good and bad. And even I've had conversations with people about everything going on now and everyone in isolation. Like a month ago, we wouldn't have envisioned this is what we'll all be doing. Like literally anything is possible. So this and other things. So I think it's that you can literally do anything and you can have that choice. And I think business gives people a lot of freedom and a lot of allowance around the decisions they want to make for their life and their family and all those kind of things. So I think it really comes back to that.
So if we've got anyone at home watching and really knowing that it's possible, they're starting to believe, they're ready to maybe take that tiny little first step, who is someone that you would recommend to have a little watch at?
Okay. There's like so many people and I kind of like ride the bandwagon to different people at different times.
Yeah.
I guess this person, his work goes pretty deep, but if you connect with it, you'll absolutely love it. And it's Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Yeah.
Dr. Joe Dispenza is like rocking my world at the moment, like all of his stuff. And he's like he just, all the information he shares, like he goes into meditation, but he does it on a science level and how that actually impacts us. And it's kind of like combining so many different things for me at the moment. It's like the Tony Robbins stuff, it's the science backed stuff, and then to actually use that in life, day to day type of thing. But I think his work is pretty full on, not full on, but it's pretty deep. Like I think because I've done a lot up until this point, that's why it makes sense for me now. But otherwise, start with like Tony Robbins. He's my other favorite.
He's brilliant, isn't he?
Yeah.
And there's so many platforms for all of his work.
Yeah, that's the thing. But there could be so much more. I love his stuff, but I'm like, I should give him a few tips. He could put so much more content out there.
Definitely. Shannon, how do we keep following you?
Yeah.
And keep connected with you?
Yeah, the best place would be on Facebook. So you can look up Shannon Stone. If you wanted to personally connect, you're welcome to do so. But I've got my business page or my Facebook group as well, which is called The Only Business Group You'll Ever Need.
Boom, love it. Awesome. Shannon, thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciated our conversation. And I know that so many people will be able to take away some of your wise words today. They're so grounding, they're so humble, and I really appreciate everything that you shared today. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here, and thank you for the conversation. Like I find a lot coming out of it as well, so it's helped me a ton.
Oh, good. Well, everyone, that's a wrap for today. I want you to take even one or two pieces of advice and wisdom from Shannon that you can absolutely create the life that you are looking to create. Find what is most important to you, connect with that, and just take one step, one simple step, and you can start to create the life that you are absolutely deserving of. So we're back on here again really soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Hey everyone, Mlikota here. If you liked this video and want to receive even more like it, then click the subscribe button below so that you can keep updated with regular content that I am posting just for you. So take action right now, click the subscribe button below, and I look forward to connecting with you again really soon.